All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive.
Yeah, glad to be back.
This time we're looking at a fascinating case study from the world of manufacturing.
Uh-huh.
And you know those high-tech gadgets that we all use and rely on every day?
Absolutely. Can't live without them.
Well, have you ever thought about what goes into making sure that those gadgets have the right gases inside?
It's not something that crosses most people's minds.
No, not really, but
It's absolutely crucial.
it is.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're looking at a manufacturer that was working with xenon and krypton.
Okay.
Those are noble gases that are in all sorts of things, from lighting to lasers.
Right.
And they needed to analyze the gas composition inside these sealed cylinders that they use, without breaking them open, of course,
Of course, yeah.
which is the tricky part.
That's the challenge.
So we're going to unravel this challenge using a case study from Infinita Lab.
We're right.
Now, this manufacturer was working with xenon, that's S, and krypton, Kr, both of which are noble gases. And they were encapsulated in these brazed cylinders with sapphire windows and a
That's
housing.
interesting.
Yeah, to protect them.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the big question is, how do you analyze what's inside these cylinders without, actually opening them up and potentially compromising them?
Right. It's like a delicate, almost like an archaeological dig in a way,
Kind of, yeah.
where you
can't just go digging around.
don't want to damage the artifact.
Exactly, and that's where residual gas analysis, or RGA, comes in.
Yeah.
So basically, RGA is a way to figure out exactly what gases are present in a given environment,
Uh-huh.
even in really, really tiny amounts.
Like trace amounts. Yeah.
Trace amounts, yeah.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty powerful tool.
It is. It's very sensitive.
So how do you use RGA on something that's sealed?
Right. That's the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just, as you said, crack it open.
Right.
So they needed a very, very specific kind of testing setup
Okay.
and a lab that was very experienced in handling these kinds of situations.
Right, so you couldn't just take it down to your local university lab
No, not at all.
and expect them to.
This was a very specialized job.
Got it.
Yeah,
And this company needed really reliable data
of course.
to make sure that their product met very specific quality and performance standards.
Right.
So who did they end up going with for this analysis?
They turned to Infinita Lab,
Oh,
who have a lot of experience with this kind of specialized testing. And Infinita Lab actually designed a custom testing setup
wow.
just for analyzing this xenon and krypton mixture.
So like a bespoke solution just for this one problem.
That's exactly right.
That's pretty impressive.
It was quite impressive, yeah.
So how did they actually go about doing this analysis?
Well, they had to come up with a way to extract a very, very tiny sample of the gas from the cylinder
Okay.
without depressurizing it.
So they had to keep it sealed.
Yeah, they had to maintain the integrity of the seal.
I see.
So it's almost like, imagine using a syringe to just draw a tiny bit of fluid without affecting the overall pressure.
Right.
So that's kind of the analogy here.
That makes sense.
They were able to get just enough gas to do the analysis without, ruining the product, essentially.
Right, so they were able to use this extracted sample to do their RGA analysis.
Exactly.
Sounds
It
complicated.
was a very delicate procedure.
So what were the results of the analysis?
Well, the analysis was successful,
Okay, good.
but it wasn't easy, I'll tell you that.
I bet.
They had to account for a lot of variables.
Like what kind of variables?
Well, things like the permeability of the sapphire window
Oh.
and the potential for any outgassing from internal components.
So even tiny little things can have a big impact.
Absolutely.
So they got the data they needed, though.
They did, and it was very valuable data.
In what way?
Well, the analysis confirmed that their manufacturing process was accurate,
Oh.
so they were doing everything right.
That's good.
It also ensured that the product, met the specifications, and it had the integrity that it needed.
So this was essential for quality control.
Absolutely essential.
And also just making sure that they were meeting their own internal standards.
Absolutely. And the peace of mind that comes with that is invaluable.
Yeah, definitely.
But what I thought was really interesting was that Infinita Lab discovered that even trace amounts of oxygen could impact the product's lifespan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they found that even a tiny bit of oxygen could cause problems down the line.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so even though it might not seem like a big deal at first, it could actually lead to premature failure of the product.
Wow, that's a great point.
Yeah, and it really highlights the importance of this non-invasive technique.
Because if they had opened the cylinder to do the analysis, Who knows how that would have affected the results?
Exactly. You could introduce contaminants.
You could change the composition.
And then you're not getting an accurate picture of what's really going on inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this method allows you to get a true, unadulterated look at the gas composition.
Yeah, and it's also important to remember that these gases, they're not just inert.
Right.
They're actually very reactive in certain situations.
Oh, absolutely.
So even a tiny amount of the wrong gas can make a big difference.
Yeah, it can throw off the entire balance of the system.
So it's really critical to get it right.
It is. It's precision work.
So we've seen how these specialized techniques like RGA can provide incredibly valuable insights. And they're especially important in situations where you're dealing with these sealed environments.
Right.
Where you can't just open things up and take a look.
Exactly.
But this is something that's probably happening all around us.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
In all sorts of industries.
All the time.
Where they need to analyze the contents of sealed containers without compromising them.
Absolutely.
So it's just something to think about.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is.
You know, all this unseen analysis that's happening
all the time.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It is. It's a hidden world.
Yeah. So that's our deep dive into the world of gas analysis in sealed containers.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.